Howdy folks. I just did a video test. Turned out pretty good. I had to turn the fan off because you could hear me, but it was very distracting in the background. I'm going to try to make this short because I don't want to sit out here. It's summertime and it's already mid-morning. But I got a few things I wanted to share with everybody today. Some things that I think are important. One of them is the different types of battles that we fight these days. I don't know whether this is going to be the most important video I ever did. I could say that just to keep you hanging on and stuff, but I would say it is important. A couple things, and I wrote them down so I don't forget what they are. You know, of course, we know that the battles that we fight, most of them, all of them are spiritual in nature also, you know. And the enemy, one of the things that he can't do is be omnipresent. That means everywhere at once, like God is. Now he's trying, by the advent of satellites and video and you name it, these cell phones, he can pretty much listen and watch and see everybody all at one time. Between surveillance cameras that are mounted at lights, red lights and green lights, and downtown areas and along the Florida Turnpike. I'm in Florida, and along 95 and I-10, every mile there's a camera now. So it enables anybody evil to gain access to that. I shouldn't say enables, but if anybody evil gains access to that, they can use it as a tool against us. Now, let me just say this. I'm going to get right into the first thing I want to talk about is Millie Weaver being arrested. There's tons of videos up. I think she was arrested Friday. Tons of video. The day she was arrested, I heard about it. I watched the video of it. And if you just type in Millie Weaver on your computer, it'll come up. She's a subcontractor for InfoWars. Her husband was also arrested, and I heard her brother may have been arrested, and she's being held in jail right now, and I think she's got her first court hearing this morning at 11 o'clock. It's being done remotely. There's supposed to be people there in the courtroom, but I don't know whether they're going to allow them or not. They'll come up with some excuse, COVID or whatever. So anyway, but the arrest coincided with the release. It was supposed to be released this Wednesday, but she ended up releasing it. Her and her husband Gavin ended up releasing it early. They released it Friday, and I'm guessing within minutes they were knocking on her door with a warrant. Now I'm going to encourage you, because I don't want to explain the whole thing to you, but I'm telling you what she and Gavin did was years in the making, and the coincidence of her being arrested the day she, moments after she released it, is highly speculative, and well, I shouldn't say that. It's highly suspect is what I meant to say. Highly suspect. It could be very damaging to a lot of people. Republicans, Democrats. I encourage you to go, and you need to watch it. I think it's called ShadowNet, or yeah. If you go to Millie Weaver, it'll talk about the new release and the name of it. I think it was called ShadowNet. So I want to encourage everybody to go there. The two main characters that she interviews with it is Patrick Bergy and Tori, a lady named Tori. I forgot what her last name is. And they were high level. When you'll see in the video exactly where they were at on the ladder. They actually have a graph and pictures, and on the graph it says where they were at, and they're whistleblowers. So I encourage you to go there. All I can say is this: I don't care who you are. I don't care how strong you are, how educated you are, how woke you are, how informed you are. Your mind, your thought process, your mind and your thought process has been hacked. So I, Robert Morrell, thought process somewhere along the line has been hacked and manipulated. Now I've sat in front of the TV and watched the news and just went, oh my goodness, can you believe that? Oh, gee whiz, what are they going to come up with next? Ain't that terrible? Well, it's pre-programming to get a reaction out of you. And this goes all the way in to the court system, to you applying for a job in a position of authority, particularly if it teaches children or kids or educational. This system has been out and put out for quite a while now. And even the people that are on the bad side, the enemies, some of them don't even know they're participating in it. But they love the idea that they can choose who's hired and fired. So I'm telling you, everybody that I know that has watched this video, when they were done, the camera would flash to them, and this is what you'd see. Are you kidding me? Are you? Everybody's thinks that they know what's going on. And I always consider myself highly informed when it comes to stuff like that. But now I'm realizing, I'm not as highly informed as you think. I didn't think it went down to the lower levels like that. I mean, I knew in some ways they were propagandizing us. I understood that. But not to the point where it might be keeping us from getting work. They can use this to categorize a neighborhood. They can use this to categorize a business with all its employees, and put up whatever they want to discredit these people, to make them look bad, even though they may be completely innocent. There's an election coming up, and this thing is going to be used in the election. It already has been, and already will. All them spoofs that you've seen and memes that you've seen about the elections last year, and all them reporters that said Hillary had a 90% chance of winning, all that was pre-programmed. The media, you would not believe how extensive this is. So, knowing that, one of the things that I have to say and I have to bring up, and listen, one of the reasons, probably one of the main reasons, and whether they know it or not, whether the bad folks know it or not, that they hate Trump is not because of some of the political things you see about Trump. But one of the biggest reasons that they hate Donald J. Trump, our duly elected president, or as BCP would say, Black Conservative Patriot would say, our duly elected, blessed president, is because he stands up for Christians. So why are they after him? One of the main things, if you got to believe there's a spiritual war in this, then one of the main reasons is because he goes and he stands up and on video, on the podium, in front of people, in front of the reporters. It don't matter where. He's not shy about it. He stands up for Christ. So I want you to think about that. If you're a Christian, and you're against him, look out. God's put him in that position. God has brought him for a time like this. Now we're going to get to the other side of the battle. There's multiple fronts on this battle. They're attacking us with misinformation. They're attacking us with food shortages, food prices. Right now, North Korea, the peasants, that's what they think of them, that's not what I think of them, are being asked to surrender their dogs, their pet dogs, because the food shortage is so bad over there, they're going to be eating them. China just ordered one of the biggest, no, not one of the biggest, the biggest grain shipment that they've ever ordered. There's tremendous flooding going on over there. There's a dam about ready to break. It doesn't look pretty for the people of China. I don't know whether this is weather warfare or not, but I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to be in big trouble, and they're going to be desperate, and they're going to be willing to do desperate things. You know, for years and years and years, I've watched YouTube videos, and I've always said, we're going to get out of this, you know, particularly with like the weight on guns, gun shortages, ammo shortages. We're going to get out of this. Well, it'll go back to normal in about 6 months, you know, and it always has. It always has. And every YouTube video I've ever seen, for the most part, most of them were concerned, but they knew that sooner or later that everything would get back to normal. You know, I remember when there was a time you couldn't find 22 ammo for your rifles. 5.56 was real hard to come by. You know, all the common handguns. You know, and that's what it is right now. More people are buying guns. Ammo's sold out everywhere, and when you find it, it's super expensive, which is crazy. But this is the first time that I've ever watched some of these guys that are on these videos saying they don't think it's going to get back to normal this time. You know, I don't think it's going to get back to normal this time. Now, I would hope it would. I would hope this is just another phase, another time where we have a problem and then it works its way out. I would hope that. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I really don't. I don't think that's going to be the case. So, I want to recommend a couple video sites. I want to recommend, and you're going to have to look them up yourself. The first one was band.video. Band.video. That's one of them. The other one is, if you look up Mike Glover, and listen to his American Contingency. Mike Glover is a former Special Forces, I don't know, 8 or 9 tours, a lot. His credentials are substantial. His methods of teaching are absolutely amazing. Truly a liberty-minded, freedom-loving, America-loving patriot. Loves his country, doesn't want to see it harmed. He's got good ideas. And he's not all about being, I'm the general and I'm going to tell you when to march and when not to march. Nope. He's about preparing America mentally and physically for what's coming. So you can be localized and take care of them problems locally that you're not caught blindsided. Now, I want to know how many people that are going to see this video were caught blindsided. And be honest now. I want you to raise your hands at home. If you were caught just cold turkey or blindsided with the fact that there was going to be a toilet paper shortage. Raise your hands. Okay? Now, I'm not raising my hand because I wasn't blindsided. I had done my due diligence and prepared and got the things ready that I needed. Had ample supply. But you know what? I went out and got more anyway. Now, if you were surprised by that, that ain't nothing compared to what you're fixing to be surprised by. Folks, I want to encourage y'all, if you spend a lot of time and you're in a big city and your work is there and you got stuff paid off, you got your home paid off, and maybe you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just financially doing very well. And you're able possibly to buy a piece of land somewhere outside of that city. Preferably, 2 hours away even. It would be satisfactory. The farther the better. There's a lot of books out there about relocation for events like this. I can't think of the guy's name. I think it's called Strategic Relocation. James Wesley Rawls' survival blog. By the way, he highly recommends that you watch Millie Weaver's documentary, because it is a documentary. You need to move, and you need to move quickly. And what I mean by move, you need to move on something. You need to move on your projects. You need to move on your list of things to get done before this happens. And don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel overwhelmed. You take one step at a time. Did I say? You take one step at a time. One step at a time. And by the end of the year, next thing you know, you got a lot accomplished. Now, you might think, well, I only have a few months. The election's only so far away, and that may be a tipping point. It very may well be. But listen, it'd be nice to know that you had some things set aside, even if you only had 2 months to do it. Again, I just want to encourage you to get out and start doing something. Start doing something. Come out of that normalcy bias and start doing something. I'm going to go down a few things that we've been doing on the property here. We've been increasing our gardening efforts, our fruit tree efforts. We've been starting a lot more small started fruit trees, in pots and stuff, getting them all ready. We're going to be selling them via on the side of the road if we have to, bartering with them. Who knows? We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. We're selling seeds online. We have an Etsy store. FamilyTreePrivateSchool.org, I believe, might have a link to the Etsy store if you want to go there and order some seeds or other things. We sell mosquito and gnat spray on there. And listen, I like the stuff for the gnats. I don't think it works as good on the mosquitoes. But, we're trying to can stuff. Yesterday I canned 10 jars of beautyberry jam. I'm telling you, it's delicious. I'm not politically correct about anything, and I may not be spiritually correct according to you, but according to me, hey, I went and made 4 bottles of beautyberry wine, homemade. Now, I'm not an expert at it. I watched a couple videos. I remember when I went off to college, so to speak. You guys know what college I went to, the School of Hard Knocks. And that I had learned how to do it years ago there. I used to make it out of potato skins. That's all I had at the college I was at. potato skins, maybe a little rice. But anyway, that's a good barter item. It's a good trade item. It's a good item to cook with. It's a good item to marinate and cook with. So I built a shade house on the property to start all my cuttings and stuff. Great move. I've had, I got family and friends that have all moved close by right now. So, so we got gunslingers now. We got gardeners. Everybody's got double, triple, and things that they're qualified for. They've been trained and cross-trained, and they're getting trained even more and learning more as we go. We're going to be holding classes. More classes on first aid are going to be important. More classes on snares and trapping. We're going to be holding classes on home education, just how to educate your children at home. For those of you that don't know, my wife Nancy was a teacher for years. She worked at the Broward County school system. There was a point where I told her, I don't think they deserve you. This is a godless institution that would, in a second, fire you if you said one thing wrong or begin to preach Christ in the classroom. Now, that's absolutely ridiculous. Think about that. So we started a private school for homeschoolers called Family Tree Private School for homeschoolers, familytreeprivateschool.org. Still active, been active for years. My wife has spoke before a subgroup at the Florida Senate over here in Florida on homeschooling. Went to all kinds of conventions, has a bunch of knowledge on it. We've just ran hundreds of feet of irrigation. Hundreds of feet of irrigation. I was out this morning putting new heads on some of it. My son's putting in irrigation and putting a garden in. We're hoping to go to one of Mike Glover's training academies, or if you want to call it that, combat carbine, level 1 training, or whatever. I played professional paintball for 8 years. Had the basics of shooting down. Used to shoot around 2,500 rounds every weekend. That was years ago. 8 years I played professionally. Traveled around the country. Most of the guys I played with were either Army, Special Forces, Marines, police, SWAT guys. We were a above average team. I would go as far as to say that in 1988 we won a national title, or what I might even say a world championship. We were called the Bushmasters of Florida back then. Played teams from France, Brazil, England, Russia. Played in Pennsylvania. Played in New York. Played in Texas. Played in Florida. All over the place. Anyway, for those of you that have known me for a long time, and in the back of your mind, I always thought, yeah, that's my cousin Robert Dale. He's a little bit crazy about that preparedness stuff and survival stuff. Or that's my brother, Robert Dale. He's a little bit crazy about that survival and prepping stuff. Yep, that's my friend, Bob, or Robert Dale. Sometimes he goes just a little bit overboard about that prepping and survival stuff. My message to you is, I told you so. I'm just being humorous. The day after it hits the fan, boy, a bunch of my humor is going to be out the door real quick. And guess what? So is yours. Please do something. Please do something. We already have a solar system going. I ran a bunch of electric wire underground running lights out there. That's hooked to up to a 12-volt system, and a toggle board that when have security devices set up, early warning devices. These are combat multipliers. These let you know ahead of time. Some of them reach up to a quarter of a mile away if I want them to. Maybe even a half a mile. I could probably get a quarter mile since I added my new antennas to them. They're mobile units, which is great. They have rechargeable batteries, which is great. I got a large supply of those I put away. We run everything off of big 12-volt, like solar system batteries. And if I hear alert zone 1, I just flick a switch or touch a wire to a nail, and whoever's progressed in there is going to be in for some surprises. If you can afford it and you watch my videos, you need to go out and you need to buy some thermal, and you need to buy some night vision. You need to team up with some other people if you can't, and pitch in on it. You know, if your group breaks up, you plan for that ahead of time. You know, I don't know how you plan for that, but you plan for that ahead of time. If you can buy more than one unit, if you can buy 4 or 5 units of night vision, 4 or 5 units of thermal, you know, thermal scopes. There's a couple new ones that have come out, and I'm not going to put a link because I don't know how to do this. But anyway, I'm going to let everybody go right now. I'm probably already past my mark. My film is probably ready to cut off. You know, all I can say is that you need to do your due diligence. Please go buy a piece of land outside the city somewhere. If anybody, family and friends live near me and want to know where there's land available while it's still cheap, it's starting to go up. It's starting to go up. But I'll tell you where you can find some. 5 acres, maybe even some. I'll give you some websites. Landwatch.com. Landwatch.com. You put the state, the county, boom. The other one is United Country Realty. United Country Realty. Find these things. You can't protect yourself by yourself. There's no lone wolves. There's no lone survivors in this. You got to work together. Even Marcus Luttrell had a team with him when he started. He wasn't dropped off on the mountains in Afghanistan by himself. He had dropped off with a team. And even when that team, God bless them, many of them passed away, he continued to fight and still had a team that's called the USA looking for him, helping him, trying to find him. God bless you guys. And remember, you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. That's even preparing. Now go get something done.